A week ago I bought a body kit of one of these little PECKETTs in 7mm on eBay, just the body kit, and it's an ex-Wrightlines kit. They're few and far between, so I picked it up while I had the chance. Now, the fact it was just the body kit didn't worry me because I've built chassis before, and I model in 14mm gauge, so I would probably have to alter any chassis that came my way anyway. So that was fine by me. The body castings just came in 3 bags, and they're actually good castings with very little flash. Now, the first thing for me, of course, was to take the white metal side frame, tacked by sellotape, these white metal side frames, and measure them up, because I was going to reproduce these in brass for functioning outside frame chassis. So I measured those up accurately and drew them up in a CAD program, and those were milled, CNC'd out of nickel silver, and I'll show you all that in a minute. So that's what was supplied with the kit, and in fact, while I was at it, I had a go at the rest of the body castings. Now, all the castings were really clean as regards flash, but something I always do with a white metal kit is rub down the flat panels with 2000 grit wet and dry, and that's going to help me get a good finish on the paint at the end of the job. Now you can see it reflecting quite well on that, and I do that with all the panels, and that will pay me dividends later. And in fact, I use one of these flexible sticks. You can see that's coarse on that side. That's still only about, I don't know, 800 grit. This side is much finer. It's been used and abused. That's 2000 grit, and that gives me that nice polished surface. And when we get that far, we will notice it particularly on large flat panels like that roof, and similar type panels. The only other thing worth showing you at this point as regards that is the saddle tank itself. Now, whoops, I'll throw that about. The saddle tank, like most saddle tanks in white metal, had a parting line round here. It's a fine parting line, mould line, but you want to get rid of it early on, so that it's quite easy to work on it when it's at this stage. It's much harder when it's soldered up as a big lump, and it's much easier to damage other things. So I find it much easier to thoroughly fettle the castings at this stage, and indeed again give it a nice rub down, and that's going to look much better under the paint when we get that far. So that's the basis of the body, and I'm quite looking forward to soldering that up. I'll leave that. Now, the chassis itself, this is the only bit of the supplied kit that I'm going to be able to use on the chassis. It's the cylinder castings. Now, for some reason, and I'm sure there's a good reason for it at the time, but there's just the two cylinders on the end of this fixed together on a bar, and actually there should be a little bit more meat to them, because of course we have valves inside the frames. So I've built it up with milliput, as you can see, to a configuration that's a bit more useful. So I'll be able to use that on the frame assembly. Now then, I've kind of mostly got there with the frames now. These frames, as I say, were were CNC'd out of nickel silver, 0.68. I beg your pardon. No, the frames themselves are 1mm nickel silver, and this is done by drawing it up in a CAD program and then putting it through another program which enables me to produce what we call tool paths. So the cutting machine knows exactly where to drive the tools and at what speed and what depth. And then that is transferred to the milling machine itself, and it just sits there happily for half an hour cutting a side frame. You see the rivet detail on there. Now, an etch brass kit, of course, you half etch at the back and then emboss through very often. I replicated this and had the CNC machine drill the back 3/4 of the way through the depth of the thing, and after it had finished and I took it off the machine, I then just used a rivet embossing tool to finish embossing through to create these quite well formed rivets. The motion brackets, or the one-piece motion bracket that runs across and will carry the slide bars, that was also CNC'd. Much easier to do that with a CNC machine rather than by hand. Years gone by, I always used to do it by hand with a piercing saw and needle file. I'm old and I'm lazy, and if I can get a machine to do it for me, I will now. And that's out of slightly thinner nickel silver. The wheels on this are actually wagon wheels. They're 12mm diameter, and they're plastic centered, so they're insulated. And for the axles, I've simply used 2mm silver steel and chopped off to length and pressed the wheels on. In fact, I've just secured them with Devcon epoxy. And very importantly, these cranks were also produced by CNC. They take about 7 minutes a piece to machine using a very small cutter, a 0.8mm cutter, going very slowly and with very shallow passes, and they produce these nice little cranks, but they're all beautifully identical, so they've got the same throw, within very tight tolerances, and they're a nice snug fit on the axle, and they're just Loctited onto the axle. And indeed the bearings, which are fully functional, were produced in exactly the same way. Now this has 3-point suspension. The rear axle is, if you like, rigid, but the front axle floats a bit. You can see I can depress that and then depress the other side, and the axle rocks on that bar. It's very simple, very crude, but it works quite nicely. And the coupling rods, again, CNC'd, and of course the joy of that is because it's all done off one drawing by the same machine and all the rest, they fit perfectly first time. So free running isn't an issue. The hardest part on this was making the 14BA nuts to go on there, which is a little bit more than my eyesight can endure. You can of course buy them from markets or Romford or wherever, but I didn't have any spare, so I thought I might machine them up on my little Unimat 3 lathe. Now the cylinder block sits in that recess there, like that, and that is the heart of this chassis. Now you'll see there is a bevel gear on the back axle. That is because this is going to be a little radio controlled loco, and it will be driven by this little gear motor here. This gear motor, the motor itself, sorry, let me grab hold of that. The motor itself, sadly these particular ones are no longer made, but the motor has a cross section of 8mm by 6mm, and it's about 14mm long. So it's a very, very small motor, and it has a planetary gearbox on the end with an output speed at 3.7 volts of around 90 RPM. So this loco will be pottering about slowly around yards and doing slow work, and this is going to be a perfect speed for this. And this will be fitted with an identical bevel gear as to that which is fitted on the axle, and that will fit in that gap there, sort of like that. And the battery I'm hoping to get in the saddle tank, and the receiver's very small, that can probably fit in the coal bunker. So that's the plan for this lovely little PECKETT, which will be rather fun. I wasn't even planning on building a loco at the moment, but the opportunity was too good to miss. Now, the machine that does all this for me, it was a birthday present from Christmas present from my lovely wife a couple of years ago, and it's this Stepcraft. It's a Stepcraft 420, and it cuts a maximum of about an A3 size. They're not intended to cut metal. but actually if you give them the right settings, it will machine non-ferrous metals really very well indeed. You can see I've cut out a pile of stuff on this, and the driving force for this, when cutting metal, I use a little Proxon drill, and a stunning machine, I find it. There was quite a large learning curve, learning how to master it, but time very, very well spent. So that's this particular little project. I hope you find it interesting. Thank you.